Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We have convened in the dark of night here to discuss the occult sensation Castlevania with your host, Alex Bonilla. I'm joined by Michelle Andrew.
Hello.
Madeline Potter.
Hello.
And Ali Martin.
Hello.
Tonight, we will be discussing this show for the first time in a long time. Okay, I'm going to drop this voice. I can't do this for as long as I wanted to. But yeah,
it's a harder voice than it sounds like.
Yeah. Like I was trying to be very smooth and vampire-like to fit in our new intro, which I made. I'm going to brag about that. But so it's been a while since Overly Animated has talked about Castlevania. Me and Sam did podcasts on seasons 1 and 2 back in October of 2018. You are now listening to Season 3 podcast in March of 2020, so here we are. But if you want to catch up on our previous discussion on this show, you can do that at overlyanimated.com. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/overlyanimated, and wherever you listen to us, we appreciate ratings and reviews that you want to leave us. But yeah, this show just dropped its third season on Netflix, and we are here to talk about it. You have heard my thoughts on Castlevania in general, but our three co-hosts here, I believe all of them caught up with this pretty recently. So we're going to begin with a bit of a non-spoiler discussion about the show in general and season 3 reactions before we get deeper in case you want to hear a general review before you begin watching the show if you haven't already. But so let's go with Michelle first, since I think you're the most recent person to catch up with Castlevania out of the three.
Besides Allie, because Allie literally finished today.
No, you watched season 1 and 2 like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like the entire show you have consumed in a very short period of time.
Yes.
So I want you to give me your general thoughts on the show as you were catching up with it. How did you feel about it?
I mean, I probably never would have touched it if Maddie hadn't been visiting me and been like, yo, we're just gonna watch it. We're gonna sit down and watch it. Because when you guys would describe it to me, you'd always say like, oh, it's really gory and it has vampires in it. And those two things together can't pique a person's interest enough, I feel like, casually.
Well, some
people.
You neglected
to say it was like, this show does not take itself seriously at all. And the humor is so good. Like, that's what I want to tell people. Like, it's a very funny show. And, like, just the comedic timing of when they say things is just, it's disarmingly great just because it's juxtaposed to, like, this really, like, campy, like, video game vampire aesthetic. And the characters are just so good, and it's like really earnest too, like for not taking itself seriously. It also is very invested in the main trio, and the plot like sort of matters but not really, and that's my favorite kind of plot. And like these characters will just sit around for episodes and barely advance the plot, and it's like, wow, like this is fine though, because I just want to watch them being stupid. And like everyone's so horny and everyone's so like hot, and like Alucard's so hot in a very different way from like Trevor being hot, and like Sypha's really hot, but she's very like tastefully like in like. There are, like, really cool lady characters, but nobody's, like, hyper-sexualized except for Alucard all the time, and it's wonderful. This is a great show. I'm so glad I'm here. I'm glad I finally gave it a chance.
That is a strong endorsement of the show you will hear, and I am 100% in agreement, especially the fact that we probably did not do enough to emphasize the humor part of the show, which I agree is a big part of what makes Castlevania work, because if it was drier in that aspect, it would make some stretches a bit tougher, but it definitely has jokes throughout, and that's no difference with season 3. But just briefly, Maddie and Allie, I don't know if you have any things you want to add on to the experience of catching up with Castlevania.
One, we can curse like crazy, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, fuck it. We can curse.
Let's get this out of the way. Alucard fucks, according to Michelle. Anyway.
Okay, this is what I want to say. I have nothing to say. The show's good. You should watch it. It's fun. It's funny. It has a lot of amazing animation and fight scenes. But what Michelle did not include in her review of the show is that literally every time Alucard is on screen, Michelle is screaming. Absolutely dying.
The way they drew his pants on his super long legs, and when he first fights Trevor in season 1, he spins around on his legs in this way that shouldn't be possible. And I can only imagine they had a beautiful male model in the studio one day, and they drew him as reference because it's so well choreographed. It had to come from life, but I can't imagine that kind of fighting ever be practical enough to really exist.
Yeah.
Alucard's so hot, though. It's insane. And they know it. They have to know how hot he is.
He's half vampire. He has to be the sexiest thing.
He
does.
They
also, has this flowy, open cut
he literally
shirt.
Has mom's hair, and it's so good.
Locks, and it's just he's the most beautiful person in the show.
Can we obviously Dracula also fucks, and his mom was also hot, so it stands to reason that he's the sexiest thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's hotter than both of them, though, hands down.
Somehow.
Yeah. That's what happens when you put two beautiful people together. You get one extremely beautiful person.
Dracula really has the hot dad angle locked down in this show.
He does.
Does he have dad bod?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Very broad.
It's just hidden under that big cape,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ridiculous cape, yeah. This show's a little ridiculous in the best way possible.
But yeah, no, that's the next thing I would say is everything is done over the top. Capes are just completely impractical.
Is
but
that how the games are? Because I've heard so many memes from these games, and then that's why when I saw the show was coming out, I was hesitant because I thought it was just going to be a giant meme.
I mean, it kind of is, but they put a real show in there too.
But that's what I like about it. They did it well somehow. It feels. I mean, again, I never played the games, but the stuff I saw from it seems so cringy.
But maybe they introduced the first main character, the first protagonist, while also talking about fucking a goat. The show is just completely wild.
You bring that back in season 3.
Yeah.
I'm any comment. I was oh my god, Alex is probably flipping out right now.
Also, the other thing about this show is that it hates religion. It hates.
Yeah, that's actually the best part of it, and that's why I started watching.
Yep, same. Hear my season 1 podcast for my unraveling of that. But so with that out of the way, now specifically about season 3, we all consumed this pretty recently. So without getting into spoilers initially, what are your reactions to it as general as you can be? Let's go to you, Allie, first. How did you feel after season 3 here?
So I mentioned this to you guys earlier, but I first of all forgot it had been 2 years since I'd watched season 2, and I hadn't done a rewatch of it, so maybe I should have before going into this, because I knew the show was basically animated Game of Thrones, but with a better plot, character, everything. But I kind of forgot how nuts it gets, especially when we get to episode 9, which we're definitely going to talk about because I have all the feelings about it. So spoiler alert if you're still listening, first of all.
Try to be general, at least for
just
this
the
part.
twins made me very upset.
Okay.
Were they twins? No, the Japanese people.
I don't know who they were. They were.
They were
related, or if they were.
Yeah, their origin wasn't super irrelevant. We get one.
Well, no, but it was because not entirely.
The 2 Japanese people. That's what matters.
I knew they were for the weebs, but
what?
This whole show is for the weebs, Allie.
I know.
The weebs.
That's what it feels like.
Franchise.
Okay, so that new character addition you weren't all for is what I'm getting.
But I don't know why I didn't expect Sypha and Trevor to be doing what they were doing so early, but I was really happy about it. And then I just think about Alucard, and we'll get to it. But I really enjoyed this season. I like the Evangelists, even though they're the worst. It's Evangelion. This season is for the weebs.
Oh my god.
Okay, good. The solid tagline to put on the poster of Castlevania Season 3 for the weebs. Maddie, let's...
SPW stands for, not for the win. For the weebs.
Wow. Maddie, your general thoughts on Season 3?
I can mention Season 1 and 2 spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, the main thing coming into this season that I was worried about is that season 2, like the emotional core of the show is completely with the antagonists, Dracula. Like that is my emotional like anchor for the entire show. It's like I care about Dracula, I care about what his plan is, and I care about the people trying to stop Dracula. And that's like all circles around him. So coming into season 3, I'm really worried that like, hey, we don't got Dracula anymore, guys. And the world still is like reeling from what Dracula did, but we don't have his presence everywhere. And people aren't fully acting on him all the time. And I think that they really successfully found a way to get me emotionally invested in the other characters on the show. I was very invested in Isaac's story. I was already invested in Alucard, and I'm even more invested now. Sypha and Trevor just are like a buddy cop team, and you just kind of like want them to succeed, and it's just really fun to watch. And everyone else, you're just like, what is anyone else doing? Like, what the fuck is everyone else doing? And
like, especially Hector.
I did not have any emotional attachment to Hector. Hector dug his own fucking grave, and he deserved it.
I had a visual connection to Hector.
Hey.
Like, okay, Hector's endpoint this season is Hector's endpoint in general, like his whole deal, because he's a fucking idiot. Is that
yes,
it sucks. Like it's unequivocally, it sucks because he starts off the season captured by Carmilla, but the thing is, like, he's just a dumbass. Like I don't
exactly. He's so
you expect
dumb.
nothing, and you're still disappointed.
You expect him to get played by a fiddle, and what actually happens is he gets played like 5 fiddles at the same time.
Really dumb.
A really strong fiddle. Okay. Michelle, your general season 3 thoughts?
I had no expectations except that I really wanted Alucard to have sex with someone.
Well, that was specifically your bar before the season.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because like I was also shook, like Allie, a little that Sypha and Trevor hooked up so quick. But then again, like they've been on the road for a month, and they seem to like each other well enough the past 2 seasons. So I guess by season 3, it shouldn't be a huge shock. Yeah. But like, man, did Alucard not get done dirty so bad this season? Because I was so excited, if not like a little like surprised, bemused that Taka and Sumi came in when they did, and the fact that the music was so like weirdly angry and discordic the whole time. Because it's like fight, sex, fight, fight, sex. It's like, this does not feel great. And then both of the sex things ended up being terrible for each man involved. And like, while it's really funny with Hector, because it's like, of course this would happen. If you've not been reading the writing on the wall, Lenore, like, is not your boo. Like, the thing with Alucard's so much sadder, because at one point, he like tears up during the sex. It's like, he's like crying because he can't.
I believe that here we begin the spoiler section.
Yeah, no,
Alucard cries during sex.
Oh my god, this poor man. And then and now he's not going to trust anyone, and he's kind of turning into his dad, and it's like, god damn it, this poor man. Just let him be happy. He didn't deserve to be punished for wanting to be horny. I mean, he was just going to sleep, and they came in.
Michelle,
sorry. The season was great, and the plot gets better for most of it, which is the same as last season. But that's fine. I mean, we'll stick around in the town for a whole season and not really do anything until the second to last episode. It was fine. The lady vampires, I did not see being such a huge part of this season, and that was so good. They're all so smart, and I was afraid like someone was going to betray someone, because that's what, ladies always be doing in media. But like, actually, they're all totally like, they are a unit, and they respect each other, and like they have a sense of community, and their leadership with each other works. And that was such a crazy surprise to me. Like, I love that all 4 of the vampire ladies are awesome, but Strika's definitely like the most awesome. Oh my god, what a gift in the world. Thank you, Castlevania.
Hard agree.
I just want to say that for your sake, Alex, Michelle did when we finished watching season 2, she did say that she wanted Alucard to fuck.
Okay, we have a witness. Fine.
It's what he deserves.
Yeah, a nice sex, not what he got. I mean,
not like
sucked.
Sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Well, now that we're in spoiler section, is the horniness the headline of this new season?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah. Everyone's
It's all
naked.
about sex.
Yeah, and there's a lot of butts and people clutching their crotch area in dungeons. And
I want to see more dicks. I'm tired of just seeing boobs and vaginas. I'm tired of it.
We didn't see any vaginas, but we did see Hector's dick for a split second.
We did see some vaginas.
Hector did go down on Lenore, didn't he? Like at the very start of it. And she does compliment him his later.
There was like a split second of Hector eating her out. Like there was like a minuscule thing.
That's not a lot of foreplay. Agreed.
And like Hector is naked for like half the season, and we don't get any full frontal. Like real.
That's what I'm saying. You get it.
Yeah, I would have appreciated a little more booty, but was on his side most of the time, being sad because he keeps getting beat up. So,
are you most sad, Michelle, that we didn't get to see Alucard's butt?
Yeah.
No, I'm most sad he didn't have a positive sexual experience. I'm most sad about that.
So I want to ask with regards to Alucard, he has that frame where he's crying in the middle of sets. Is that happy crying or sad crying?
No, it's happy.
It's definitely happy.
He's emotionally connecting to them, and he never would give himself such a gift on his own, and he's like responding to the joy of the moment, and it's like so sad that like this act is like bringing a tear out of him, you know. That just makes you feel like even sorrier for the guy, honestly.
It does. It's they played it too well, and I hate it.
I think
look at all that damn food, and this is the things he gets.
I think the biggest thing is that Alucard was definitely on Sumi and Taka. He was very much projecting Sypha and Trevor.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I didn't think that either. Whoa!
What?
Come on, he's having sex with two partners, male and female, and he's like training them like he tried to help them when they came to.
And he spent all season like missing Trevor and Sypha. Like this was very clearly.
Yeah.
These are the new. Wait, hold on, because he only had two friends before this. Now he has two new friends.
I think this is supposed to be that he totally wanted to fuck Sypha and Trevor.
I'm like waiting for season 4, please.
The ultimate goal, because I do think Trevor I ship more with Alucard.
Yeah, then
like Sypha's awesome. She could be great for anyone, but like the energy between Alucard and Trevor's fighting gives so much more to the imagination, frankly.
But here's the thing: which one's the bottom? Because they both seem like bottom.
You know what? You guys
they can take turns.
I just don't see Trevor ever putting work into sex, honestly.
He might for Alucard. Maybe that's like a special scenario.
He was the one to bring him up, too. I thought it would be Sypha, but I'm so happy it was Trevor. Like, when they were just talking. I'm glad he was the one to think of him first. And then that was so emotional because, like Michelle said, I ship them more than anyone.
Yeah, they're better ship.
I mean, they're gonna. This, to me, like, confirms that it's canon. The fact that, well, no, not that it's canon, but the fact that they, like, did this to show like maybe preemptive like relationship stuff in the future.
At the very least, Alucard is very bi, and that's very good.
That seems like the base level canon confirmation here.
Yes.
I just want to point out, like, even when Alucard's like really bent out of shape and has been like horribly betrayed and has PTSD now, and he puts the two on the spikes, he takes the time to like give them little nightgowns so their corpses are naked in the wind. It's like, Alucard, even when you try to be your dad, like, you're still thoughtful, damn it. It's so good. Didn't want them to be naked even though they're dead.
He's a good boy. He did not deserve that. I hate it.
We will definitely come back to Alucard's aftermath, since I think that connects to a theme of the overall season. But while we're here on the horniness, The Alucard stuff was kind of out of the blue, whereas the Hector Lenore stuff was building throughout the season.
Wow.
We got a little bit of like pet play stuff as well, right? Because,
a little
bit. Lenore's got him by the leash, and that advances to kissing.
Go walkies. Who wants to go walkies?
Yeah.
She literally walkies.
I just enjoyed that, like, from the first season 3 trailer, most of us were already like, oh, there's some BDSM vibes going on.
It's so good. It's so good, because Hector's such a little bitch, so, like, he's the perfect person for this.
I mean, she's not wrong.
It's true. That's why it's hard to sympathize with, like, objectively that being a terrible situation, because it's a Hector, and he's been fucking up since the first season.
It is either that or die, so it's also like,
which
would you prefer? But really, you're gonna choose that over death because that seems worse than death.
It does seem worse than death.
He's such a little bitch.
Nick has so much more dignity.
I mean, look, he is a bitch, but at the same time, he was kind of hot in that set scene. The abs were pretty strong. He was taking care of Lenore's body. I'm just saying, he was a giver.
I mean, Lenore even says, like,
she's an actor that he's not bad at the sex. She just got
trained. Do you guys think she actually likes him though?
No, she does, but she's a vampire, so she can only like him in a very patronizing way.
I think
it's just part of
him, but she doesn't like him. She's not
in love with him. She just thinks he's cute.
Like, just imagine your cat or dog, and that's the level of love she has for Hector, but that's it. She literally does not see him as a person.
That moment when he's like in the room with the other vampires, and she's like, "Shh, the real people are talking."
Yes.
Oh my god!
That was the biggest.
So good.
Oh my god! I also wanted to say, just to be clear, the problem, like, for the listeners, pet play is fine. You can do whatever you want in the bedroom. The problem here is Hector.
Yeah, don't be Hector.
Don't be Hector.
Hector seems to be blind to all of this until the very, very end.
No, he doesn't even notice until he's already caught.
Yeah.
I thought at first he was like trying to kind of manipulate what the hell is her name?
Lenore.
Lenore into like I thought he was gonna like double cross her eventually.
Or try to.
Not while they were having sex, but like I thought that was why he was going to have sex with her.
No,
so
he just got horny.
He just got horny. She was on the bed, she brought her own comforter. I mean,
but then I thought he was like gonna be he was gonna try and be smart. I guess that's
not Hector's strong suit. Is being smart, unfortunately for him.
Honestly, the smartest thing he did was trying to kill Lenore at the beginning of the season, but he should have actually just gone for the kill instead of capturing her.
How do you kill a vampire with your bare hands? I don't think you can.
He was gonna rip out her throat.
I
don't know what that would have done. But he's gonna do
that's what he threatened.
Yeah, the problem is that he explained his plan before.
Just what a dumb person does.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, if he had just done it, he might have done something.
Yeah.
He would have gotten.
I mean, I like this a lot more. I want to see Lenore trample over him even more than this.
I also want to say that Michelle got really excited when Carmilla stepped on Godbrand in season 2.
I forgot about that. It's just like these ladies are so like, oh my god.
Yeah. I do also want to bring up here, like, I want to get your guys' thoughts on the usage of the horniness, especially in episode 9, which is a really big episode. You got the climactic fight scenes, and they intersperse the having sets in between Trevor and Sypha fighting off these hell beasts from the portal. I'm curious what you guys thought about how that was handled in episode structure wise. Like, were you guys feeling it? Maddie, I don't know if you have any thoughts on how it was used in terms of the episode.
I have been sitting on this for 3 days now, trying to figure out how I feel about this, because in the episodes, it was so good. Like, episode 9 should not work. There is literally six different plots happening in one episode, including 2 sex scenes, 2 crazy different fight scenes, and 2 nothing else like that happening things with I forget who. There's just too much going on in that episode. The point is, though, it works, and I'm still not quite sure why. Clearly, this is the climax. Yeah, haha, puns of all the.
Damn, you beat me.
I was waiting for someone to make that joke.
Yeah, someone's gonna do it at some point. And I'm not sure what the, like, point of it was. Like, it clearly, like, worked.
Michelle, go ahead.
Well, I think the thing is, like, it's very, like, kind of uncomfortable energy to have it intercut with all, like, the physical violence of what Trevor and Sypha are doing. But then you get two great payoffs of, like, oh yeah, Hector totally is fucked over, and also so is Alucard, which is 10 times sadder. But that, like, explains it, like, tonally, it's not romantic. Yeah. It's, like, frantic and angry and, like, passionate, but then sneaky, it turns out.
This is why it's like Game of Thrones, but like actually good.
But I mean, in Game of Thrones, they like usually have these sex scenes like by themselves, so the focus is the sex scene. Like the sex scenes aren't like an afterthought, but they're supposed to feel weird the whole time through.
Right, that's why it's actually good.
It's actually good.
It's supposed to feel weird because like it's intercut with the violence, and also like the payoff of it like being like sneaky in both cases. I just think works so well for that. Like it's so smart. It's like they can do romance if they want to.
Thing.
I think I know what it is, because in Game of Thrones there are a lot of rape or like sexual assault scenes where they're just the focus of the scene, and they leave it there, and it feels like it's not commented on. But these sex scenes are like being commented, like these are bad. Like the show is saying these are as crazy and violent and bad as the fight scenes that Isaac and Sypha and Trevor are having. Like it's really, I think they just wanted to make sure we as the audience knew these are bad and not like get a wrong idea about them, I guess.
Plus, like there's no rape here. Like say what you want, but like both of those were consensual sexual experiences. It's what happened after them that turned into the betrayal.
I think the Alucard one comes close to sexual assault.
I would say it's definitely like closer to molestation, if anything, by the end. Because
I think the Hector Lenore one is not, because the stuff that's wrong is other stuff. But they specifically went sexy with Alucard to get him distracted and get him like it felt a lot more disgusting to me, especially because for me it's like here's this nice like gay kiss, and like one of the men is actually getting penetrated by another man at the very least, like, and it kind of just takes the wind out of my sails. Be like, hey, here's this gay sex scene like actually happening in a show. Oh, he's actually evil, and it's kind of doing like kind of predatory lesbian stuff sort of with it.
Well, it's definitely coercive, but I'd also say, like, there's, like, a very quick moment of the switch for both cases. Like, the ring going on is the switch, and the bands going on, Alucard's arms are the switch. And, like, the sex stops before both those things happen. Like, it is coercive, but I feel like I appreciate that, like, the sex is not the point of getting the power over either of these people.
Yeah. No.
Like, and that's, like, kind of a nice difference, like, honestly. The bar's
like, Lenore's getting off on this. Lenore is literally getting off on this.
That's the problem, is the bar's too low for this kind of thing, so it feels better than most things, but it's still, just as terrible, if not more so.
I think the issue is Alucard's thing makes me feel uncomfortable, and it's supposed to. It's, like, supposed to make me feel really uncomfortable, but I'm not sure how I feel with this being a gay sex scene. That's my problem. Like, that's, like, here's this, like, actual, like, male-male kiss going on, and it's like, this is really tainted and bad now. And that's makes
part of why they're doing it, I think, because also just to have it canonized.
Canonized, yeah.
In that way, just adds an extra layer of drama. And
like, I think
I appreciate that, like, I mean, Alucard obviously is going to get out of it. Like, it would be worse if, you know, it would be, like, a full-on rape scene where, like, he was helpless and he, you know...
He accepted it. He consented to this.
Well, no, even in the end. Like, he was able to kill them.
I mean... Yeah.
So that makes it better than, like, what most scenes like this are like.
Yeah, they didn't actually... I actually thought they might kill him for a second.
I didn't think he would kill them, but I'm glad he did.
I thought someone would jump in.
Yeah. Well,
this is why we need Trevor to right the wrong of and let a happy gay sex time to commence.
Well, that will be your season 4 goal, Michelle.
Yes, it will.
It will be everyone's season 4 goal.
Yeah. But thank you for that discussion. Since I think that is like kind of it's a bold move for sure. One of the many crazy things that episode 9 does. So I'm glad we talked about that a little bit. Just briefly tying up other popular ships. I mean, Trevor and Sypha, I mean, that they have their banter. We see them sleeping in bed together. No real actual set stuff except the joke.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah. There's a joke in the first episode.
I get so upset, when he says fear is better than sex. I was horrified as it dawned on me, just because there's a couple I care least about, honestly.
Right? Yeah.
But Sypha got her. Oh man, not.
I really like because she got with the guy, but she became more confident. Not
less.
Yeah.
What should be.
She gained agency. She didn't lose it, and I think that's what matters here.
Also, she's the Avatar. I just have to put that out.
She's amazing this season. But
she's the Avatar.
I also want to comment that I think they very pointedly did not show us positive sex between them. I think it would have made. It's a conscious decision not to show us a good relationship with sex this season, I think.
Well, I think it's more that their sex isn't the biggest, that shouldn't be the highlight of them being together. Them fighting together is the highlight of them being together. And they seem to enjoy fighting more than sex, honestly. That's why it's why are they fighting while everyone else is getting down? And I'm maybe it's because they enjoy fighting more than sex.
Their relationship is killing
They're perfect for each other.
They really are.
That episode 1 scene where Sypha's overacting is just so cute.
I know it is cute.
And also, Michelle, I'm sure you have strong opinions about Marana and Striga being a couple. Give us your lesbian vampire thoughts, please.
Striga is so beautiful, and all of her outfits fit her so well. They're very flattering, but they're also pretty butch, and she's just so big.
It's really a big week for the butches.
Yeah, it's a big week for the butches, and Striga loves her wife, and they're evil together, and they have all these tactical plan discussions, and I love that that's a big part of their relationship because they've been together for a while. The chase is over. They're just happily together now. And just Striga is so good. I just see there's our happy gay representation. And
but they're evil. That's
but they're happy together. They're happy and evil.
I have a question. Did Sypha and Trevor ever kiss on screen together?
No.
So then that continues. I was going to complain before the end of the season that they don't kiss, Striga and Marana. But again, there's no kisses in this show that don't immediately get punished with something evil.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Lenore does the most kissing.
It's just like Game of Thrones, y'all.
No one happily kisses on screen. Clearly Marana and Striga kiss, and they even come close to doing it at one point. Before they're interrupted by Carmilla.
Yeah. So I think that covers all of the Seth's horny ship
we'll find
stuff.
More sex stuff.
I'm sure.
If Isaac wasn't so hell-bent on world domination, he would have had sex by now.
Yeah.
Bold of you to assume he hasn't with something.
Do you think they fucked the monster that they had in the basement?
I mean, I'm sure his heart belongs to the captain, but...
Oh, okay.
No, his heart belongs to Dracula.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Well, there's a little room in his heart for the captain, too.
I'm sad the captain never came back. I thought...
Okay, so let's dig into Isaac. I want to dig into Isaac for a little bit, actually.
Yeah, are we going to talk about actually what happened this season instead of just sex?
Well, I mean, that was a big part. And we'll get to, other parts of the season that's wild, animation style. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about how humanity is evil. There's a lot of stuff we got to cover. But let's touch on Isaac for a little bit, because I will say, I think he's my favorite character of the season. I enjoyed whenever we switched over to him. It felt like a real different pace from the rest of the show. It felt like it dug into more of the themes that have been touched on in the previous seasons with what is humanity doing, why is religion stupid, and all that. And also Isaac himself is just a very commanding character in terms of voice, and he's got this interactions with the captain as well, lead to very interesting back and forth 4/4. So Isaac and of course, like episode 9 again, like that episode is great, and his fighting with the floating ball of slaves was just crazy. Like, like how do you even think of that?
someone wrote this episode and they're like, someone just go wild. They're like, okay, what about a ball of slaves? They're like, what do you mean? It's just a ball of slaves.
Yeah, and Isaac has his beast army to handle that. But I don't know. How do you guys feel about Isaac, since his side of the story is a bit quieter, I'd argue, than the rest of the show? Allie, do you want to give your thoughts here?
So I really like that he has like the sort of most interesting plot going on, but I don't really care about it or his character. I think what they're doing with him is great, but I'm just strangely not invested. And I saw a lot of people were like going ham about him this season, and I think he was handled super well. But I don't know. Like I like that he was able to like sort of bond with people, like the captain and what's her name, that
the crazy lady.
Yeah, she was great. Also, I don't know. I'm assuming they're leading up to him being the big bad instead of like Carmilla and her sisters. I'm assuming he's gonna like beat them to whatever punch they're trying to get to.
Even though it's gonna be a crazy fight.
Like they need the humans to eat, he needs the humans to fight and like steal their souls. So I don't know. I'm not interested in it at all, but it's going to be interesting. So that's why I'm a little like, maybe I don't know if I'm like just not picking up on something everybody else is, or it's just not doing it for me.
Okay, Madeline, do you have anything into Isaac?
Why are you calling me Madeline all of a sudden?
I don't know.
What's your name?
Oh,
I mean, it is, but I mean, okay. Anyway,
this is a serious discussion, Madeline.
It's a serious discussion about sex.
Thank you for not
killing
using my
things and slave balls.
That's all very serious.
I know. But Isaac, I think, is definitely filling the role in, like, if we're making the Game of Thrones comparisons to Daenerys. But the difference is there's actually, like, a clear objective, and there isn't, and there, at least as far as I can tell, isn't going to be an out of left field turn to evil, because Isaac is already off that cliff. He's already on the other side, and so we don't have to, like, have this moment where it's like, hey, Isaac, why are you doing evil shit?
I think that's why I'm not as invested, because he's already like, we know what he's about.
But I think the investment in Isaac is that he's been wronged a lot, and you're kind of waiting to see there if he figures out something new. Like, because he's going on this crazy journey to maybe, like, figure himself out. Also, I think it's really cool that they confirm that he's Muslim this season.
Yeah.
Like, they confirm it outright that he is Muslim.
But is it racist if he's a bad guy? This is where I'm like, I don't
think it is. Because, like, he's not... Because here's the thing. Everyone in the show is bad. But he is shown as a protagonist in a lot of ways. He is shown as someone, like, people wronged him a lot. Like, people were racist against him and he killed them. And, like, can you argue that that was bad? People were, like... Most of the actions he's taken in a vacuum have not been inherently evil.
No.
Yeah, and I will say as well, like, part of why I connect to Isaac is that it feels very earnest at everything that he's doing, and so it feels very easy to, like, connect to his, like, frustrations. Like, he gets a bit of kindness and then it goes wrong. He gets a bit of kindness from the captain and then it just goes back to, like, humanity sucks. So, like, any time that he has something go well for you, you can, like, feel it in him, like, he's considering, like, maybe there's something here, like, maybe I'm wrong about something. And then, like, the society comes back to be like, no, this is all gonna stay the same no matter what you do. So, like, that part of it is something that I feel very close to. And also, I mean, I think that's a theme that connects through to different characters in this season as well. Like, you get Alucard, right? Like, he is also in a place where, like, humanity kind of sucks. He finds these two humans. Oh, hey, I'm able to be happy with them again, like, just like it was with Trevor and Syphon. Maybe this is repeatable. And then it all goes to shit, and as a result, he has to go back to, like, what is humanity good for anyway? And even Syphon and Trevor, like, we get that a little bit at the very end with, like, the judge twist when it's like, oh god, like, we're helping a bunch of scumbags.
I was waiting for that. And it felt like it took so long to get to that payoff. I didn't really like the way it was done.
In a vacuum, I agree that it's probably a bit too out of left field. But I think that with the overall season, like different characters are experiencing the same things. I think in that sense, it fits very well with just like the bleakness.
I wouldn't say it was out of left field. Just I was waiting for it to come, and then it came at like. I don't think the best time, like, because it's the last episode, really, and you're coming out with it now. I thought it was obvious when he was like,
that's what I meant. That like it came out at like a time that you didn't really like. You thought it would have come out earlier. But my point is that like Isaac, I think, is expressing the theme of this like really on the nose, but it bleeds into the stories of several other characters in this season. But I think Isaac like has it like in your face the most, and so that's kind of what like I enjoyed about his side of the story.
And I also think
like
that
Isaac a lot more this season than the first two for that very
too.
reason. Because the thing with Isaac this season is, like Alex was saying, you see him struggle with the potential to like have hope in humanity again. He's not fully, like, he's done a lot of evil things, but he hasn't like gone to the dark side in an irredeemable way, and that's what's so interesting where he is right now. He's like teetering. He's teetering. I feel like he could like step back from this. And again, the captain has a really good moment where he's like, okay, cool. So you're gonna kill off humanity. But also, what if you do that and then you instill like a really positive new world order and you actually try to help whoever's left after you kill like 90% of people? How about that?
That's the thing.
Gotta
You're missing the killing 90%.
Well, that's objectively terrible. But I think like in his own weird captain way, he's trying to get Isaac to consider like, look, maybe like people are really corrupt and maybe religion sucks and maybe like there are things in place right now that are hurting us and they like should be dismantled. But also, like, not everyone has to die. Like, we can just like establish a new form of government or something, and you can like help with that instead of just murdering everyone.
Yeah,
and I feel like
trying.
that's like Isaac's options right now, and I feel like honestly he could do either one, and that's what's interesting about him. And I really didn't get the sense that could be possible when we first meet him. Like when he's just working with Dracula, his mind seems so made up, but now that he's kind of like adrift on his own, I feel like there's way more potential for him to choose paths that he hadn't initially considered before, and that's like my whole intrigue with him.
I really hope he does that, but I can't see him doing it now. I feel like he'd still, if you think, like, because you said hasn't reached the point where he would be beyond redemption. I feel like he has to reach that first before he can do that.
But I mean, I think
now
that this season is kind of starting to say that like he's kind of getting there, because at the end of the season he says maybe in the future people will use this settlement. Like he's open to the idea of people being alive after he's done.
That's
like that is a huge moment for his character growth.
Yeah. Like, he is slowly, like, kind of going back on what he always thought, because, like, the reason he wanted to kill everyone is because of, like, he can't divorce what happened to him from, like, all of humanity needing to pay, which is, like, you know, he went through a lot of tough stuff, so I understand that. But also, like, I think it's a lot harder to have compassion sometimes than to just be fucking mad. And that's, like, the options on the wall for him, and he can choose one or the other. But, like, he has, like, the potential to make a choice either way, and that's what's exciting, you know?
I think what's happening here is he is literally he's going from place to place, and shockingly, like, even though he's finding bad people, he's also finding good people. And I think he's finally realizing that the bad people he's finding are directly, right now at least, products of what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, the bad people he's finding are like, hey, we don't want to let you into our town because you have a bunch of demons with you.
And then he'll use the demons to kill all of them when he gets mad enough.
Hey,
They're so fucking rude.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, Isaac, maybe if you don't have a literal army of demons, people won't be scared of you and want you to not be in their town.
Hey, don't be fucking rude. Come on.
Yeah, that was a really awesome line from Isaac.
Yeah, oh my god.
He pulled a Jenner move.
Yeah. So, and also that shot at the very end where he's like sitting, he's like sent his monsters off, and he's just sitting there, like kind of admiring his work. I thought that was a pretty nice shot too.
Yeah, it was.
He has very human reactions and responses to things, which makes it easier, I think, to relate to him. Because, like, he's insanely powerful, but also he has, like, very relatable struggles. Like, yeah, if you're rude to me, I'll kill you. Because I can.
But he actually can.
Yeah.
So let's go from relatable to not at all relatable. There's the floating ball of slaves that we already talked about. Although I think that's one of the weird pieces of animation in this show. I think the weirder part is the infinite corridor, which is a thing that pops up several times in the show. Episode 6, we get a look into it. In episode 9, we get a look into it, specifically looking at a representation of hell. Maddie, how did you feel about episodes 6 and 9 with regards to their experimenting style?
I love this shit. So, usually when shows have this, like, oh, there's infinite universes and stuff, it's like, here's another version of medieval Europe. Here's another version of, whatever. Like, they're very narrow, quote unquote, infinite universes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not, like, very different. In this one, it's like, no, here's a mech, here's a fucking alien spaceship, here's fucking hell. And it's just like, okay, we're going there. And, like, now I'm just, like, completely on board with all this shit, and I'm just, like, ready for all of it. And, like, we even see this, like, Escher painting style, like, stairway, realm, and I'm like, yes, give it to me. Like, if we just, like, this whole season just low-key sets up, like, whatever the fuck they want to do for the next, like, 10 seasons. Any show, like, they could just literally do a show about anything they show in this corridor, and it's just insane.
Yeah, the lady that this count is, like, looking for is in that, like, weird twisty city thing going on that, like, it can't really.
And she's standing upside down. Like, it's definitely, like, weird gravity stuff happening.
Yeah, I don't understand what the hell any of that is.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
No, not even in a good way. I was wondering, like, I was waiting for this character to, I don't know, be more explained than it was.
Oh, the lady?
The
No, the
count.
The count.
I think part of the thing is the count is from the games, but I don't know any of that. I don't know any of that lore. Just to be clear, I don't know
any Castlevania lore.
Yeah, but we'll keep our discussions within the show, and I mean, the fact that it ends with him, like, going into the corridor, I think he says something like, "I'll see you again," or something like that.
And we're like, wait, what?
It's definitely a situation where, like, we want to leave open the idea of this corridor existing for the future. I will say I really enjoyed that shot of us going into hell, and we're just, like, going forward, and, like,
God.
And it's like I figured it was like a mix of CGI, and I think they were using miniature models at times.
Yeah, there was a little bit of both.
Yeah,
it was very interesting.
It was effective. Like, I couldn't quite place what was happening the whole time, but I liked that feeling. The feeling lost and kind of just absorbing what's happening in the moment is definitely something I like experiencing when I'm going to literal hell, you know?
Yeah, like it's gotta feel kind of otherworldly, right? And I think they really nail that.
Yeah, and
I love
neighborhoods, like,
sorry, go ahead.
People live there.
Yeah.
Like little houses.
Yeah, I appreciated that. I was like
Utah,
like they just have terrible weather and a climate, but it is inhabitable somehow. So, you know, I'll see y'all there. Maybe not.
Yeah. And, like, I love that one of the lines from this show was literally, well, that is very probably actually hell. Like, they're like, the characters in the show are just like, okay, yeah, this is really weird, and I don't know how to react to this.
Yeah, they are as weirded out as we are. Also, at the end, we gotta bring this up. At the end of that shot of going into hell, this happens at the end of episode 9. It ends with us reaching an abandoned house, and inside, we see Dracula and Lisa embracing. They look at the camera like, "Hi, what's up, bitches?"
I have something to say about this.
I just want to say, my reaction was laughing out loud, like, "Oh my god, this is how you want to end your climactic episode." This is hilarious.
In all seriousness, though, like, why the fuck is his wife in hell? She was a stand-up citizen. She gets murdered in cold blood. Why is she in hell for fucking
She was married. Because she was married to him, and it's his house.
She's religious. this is based on
the
church.
Lady.
But this was based on the church's version of hell because Michelle, she was a sinner according to the church, even though she's an evil, even though she's a very good person.
Oh, that's
well.
I mean,
baby.
Michelle, according to the church, we're all going to hell. All of us here.
Well, actually,
yeah,
I want to follow on that, Maddie, because, like, I think that a part of the, I mean, this is like a theory, but like, given the way that this show treats religion, what if it's a case where like we're living in this universe where like heaven doesn't exist and everyone goes to hell?
I'm waiting for it to be revealed.
Like, I think that would legitimately be something that could happen here. Also, I think a very real thing that could be happening is, unfortunately, with infinite corridor stuff, because it's infinite, like, this could just be not our Dracula. This could be not our hell. You know what I mean?
Like alternate realities and shit?
Well, levels of hell.
Yeah. But also, I think the real thing that could be happening here is there's just no heaven. Like, there's just hell. There's just an afterlife, and it is hell.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and related to that, I mean, Trevor and Sypha's whole story thing is this religious conspiracy between, like, these priests that have seen the hell beast and have converted to Satanism practically. Yep. Like, hey, look, God created everything. He created the devil. He created Dracula. So let's go with that instead. That's cool, right, guys?
God created Dracula. Oh my God.
It makes sense. He created everything.
Okay. Their religion makes more sense than the church. They're not good people, to be clear, but their stuff makes a little more sense.
Because they're so on point with everything.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
You want to join Sala's club, Allie?
Yeah, man, I'm going to hell anyway. I might as well. Like, there's no reason delaying the inevitable.
But in general, how did you guys feel about like this being where Trevor and Sypha kind of hung out for most of the season, just like try to solve this?
It's better than the library. I mean,
yeah.
That's true. That's true.
But you don't have to fight anybody in the library. You could take a nap. So.
Yeah.
I could stare into the soulless eyes of Sala. I mean,
oh my God, I love that the people who are in the cult like just actively did not blink a lot. Like they blinked a couple times, but like they just had these huge eyes and they were not blinking while everyone else was. Like I was watching, like they were actually animating other people blinking while these people were not.
I just can't stand the way Sala's eyes look. It's so
they're horrifying. I love it.
Just giant and gray and just unblinking. It's like a fish or something.
Like way worse than a fish, though. He's just a creeper.
Yeah. Yes. They've trapped this night creature under their church. It's got like it releases like rainbow colors.
Oh, he's the kitty. He was my favorite.
Oh my God.
Him.
What?
Sorry, this was the other thing. Sorry, Michelle thinks all of the demons are kitties.
No, not all of them. Only the most cat-like ones. But when Trevor was like low key like whipping the shit out of him, I was really upset.
How did that look like a cat to you?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Because a lot of the demons look a lot more like humanistic, just like with like exaggerated proportions. But this one was like full animal.
So basically, what I'm getting from that is if it walks on four limbs, it's a cat.
Yeah.
You're joking, Allie, but Michelle did this every time before Like It One did this.
Well, they're just doing their thing. They don't have to get killed. It's not their fault.
There is a literal lion beast in the middle of this finale. Like there's a thing with a lion head on it.
Another one with the amazing thigh action.
Yes, I think it had 3 legs.
Arrows.
Yeah, it was too humanistic. It had like a man torso. It doesn't count.
Yeah, it did have some centaur vibes. But yeah, like in terms of the character design of the Hell Beasts, I mean, this show has always delivered from season 1 in terms of like weird creatures. And we get that finally in episodes 9 and 10 when the portals are open up and we get all these weird creatures. In addition to the one we've already mentioned, there's also one that had like eyes all over its wings and also had a really toned ass.
That was cool.
That's actually more like actual biblical angels for the record. Like
it even had like the spear and everything.
That gave me Eva vibes more than anything else.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Michelle, have you watched
really
Eva?
Yes.
I feel like never mind. This is important, but I just somehow did not know.
Yes, I have.
Yeah,
no, but that was straight up. Like that was definitely an Evangelion reference, if not like biblical.
I mean, it's just like a It's just like an Old Testament reference, which
Yeah.
Ava...
I didn't know they were drawn that cool. Like, honestly, the design is on point.
Yeah, the Old Testament is fucking weird as shit.
Well, actually, I think that's a Revelation thing where they talk about angels that have like eyes all around them. Like that New Testament got pretty weird too.
They both are weird. But I mean, like, there's literally a part of the Old Testament where they're like giant aliens. There's literally a line from the Torah that talks about giant aliens.
Yeah. I'm sure. And because of all these hell beasts, Trevor and Sypha gotta get into action, and I will say, maybe the choreography for Love put a really high bar, but I'll say that Trevor and Sypha had some really cool moments in these final 2 episodes. Sypha has a moment where she's like fighting one in midair, and she's got like
her fire hands. She's her own jetpack. It's so cool.
It made me think a lot of that fight from Korra season 3.
Avatar. She's the Avatar.
Like, but it literally
she
looks like
lightning bends.
Yeah.
She electrocutes the lion beast through the water on the ground.
What I'm trying to say is that, like, this was a fight scene in midair that actually felt like it was, like, midair, and everything felt weightless, and it was just really cool.
So
I want to, like, thank the show for giving Sypha so many moments to be so cool and not, like, having her get fucked up and having, like, Trevor have to, like, save her afterwards. Because, like, I have seen and internalized that shit so often that I always expect it now. And Sypha can, like, more than hold her own. And, like, I'm just, every season of her not getting, like, beaten down by somebody is just so good. And thank you.
I think the best part is we skipped over this month of Trevor teaching Sypha. So we didn't get to see the part where she wasn't in fully control of her, like, agency. And now we just skipped ahead to the part where she is maybe not equally good at monster hunting, but, like, she is really good at monster hunting now. And we skipped over that whole part.
I know she's better. Did you not remember her in season 2 at the end?
She has way more
my
shit at
point
her
is that she's
disposal than Trevor
Trevor
does.
has, like, this knowledge of how to, like, he has a knowledge of the different monsters, but Sypha doesn't have that inherently. But
Trevor has the street smarts, Sypha has the book smarts.
But she also has magic, which is really fucking
cool. She has
all kinds of magic. That's what makes her the Avatar.
My favorite shot of the whole season is when she makes that ice and she, like, fire jets across it, like, dodging the arrows, and then turns around and throws, like, this disc of ice cutting.
That was so cool. And she cuts through, like, 5 people in a row.
Oh my god.
She's such a badass.
Well, I'll say, Sypha is cool. I think she's also really cool in season 2. However, I do think that this season is an improvement for Trevor's fight scenes. Like, I felt a lot better about his whipping stuff going on this season versus the previous seasons. Especially when we get into double whip territory. Like,
oh my god!
They do good work. They do good.
Like, he's dual wielding now. This means he's bisexual too, just saying.
Oh, he absolutely is.
Everyone's bi in this show.
Yeah, well, that's also true.
I mean, like, I think that he definitely uses his whips as whips more. Like, he's using, like, he, like, catches his whips with his feet and, like, kicks them back another direction or catches weapons and stuff. Like, he uses a spear and, like, an axe and, like, he's just going all over the place.
I find it so interesting that his, like, mace whip thing, that, like, if it touches a demon, it makes him fucking explode. Like, that's the kind of nonsensical, batshit video game logic I love about this show.
And it's
like, how does this work? I don't know, but it looks cool as hell, so let's keep going.
But it's never explained. They just
never explained.
They just do it? That's the same with Sypha's magic.
Yeah,
they never
it's like, how does she know all this magic? I don't know, but it's awesome.
Yeah, they never explained it, and it's great. Like, there's this part where she's like, maybe I could try to use lightning. And
I was like, that came out of fucking nowhere, and I loved it.
But I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too.
By the way, I want to point, just as a random thing, Lenore gives a book of vampire magic to Hector, and he's apparently reading that for a couple of episodes. So I'm just saying, you might be able to learn magic from just reading in this universe, and Hector might do some.
I think it's true, because that's what they seem to think about, like, the Forge Masters. They imply that they just learned how to do it.
Yeah, and Alucard even said that he could have taught Sumi and Taka magic.
Yeah!
So more weird magic, I'm sure, is in our future.
Oh, can I just mention one time that Sypha used air bending at one point, and it was like she like twisted around and dodged someone, and it was like such a cool shot. Like she twisted all over the place.
When will she use Earth? That's what I'm waiting for.
I mean, we're getting there. Next season.
Yeah.
Please let her just be the Avatar.
I mean, she already is. There's like a scene
lightning,
where she's
ice, fire.
Like, I will never get over the fight
air.
scene. Like, my favorite thing is, like, I will never get over her using those, like, ice discs to, like, block attack. Like, it's just so
And then
she, like, slices them, which is awesome, too.
Slicing was so smart. It's like, yo, you don't need a sword. You just freeze the water and cut 3 people down in a row.
But I mean, like,
it's so versatile, because you can use it as a shield and then
versatile.
as, like...
And it's not just versatile, like, as in combat, it's versatile animation, because you can do so many cool things. Like, she blocks an arrow and then uses that same thing to attack someone behind her, and, like, it's just so fluid and so, like, dynamic and energetic that it's just, I don't know. They captured a lot of that,
like, ice bending in Avatar.
Like,
a lot of it.
They captured a lot of that, like, fluidity of motion from Avatar that I think I've missed in fight scenes, where, like, she's doing things that feel natural to her and make almost no sense to me, the viewer, until I see her. I'm like, whoa, that's really cool.
Yeah. Let's hear other like dangling pieces we have here. Of the new characters, we've talked about most of them, but the 2 we haven't really discussed: Count Saint Germain, voiced by Bill Nye, who
what?
Bill Nye?
No, not Bill Nye. Bill Nye.
Bill Nye, like of Davy Jones from the Pirates of the Caribbean and the rattlesnake Jake from Rango.
Not
his name is too close to Bill Nye.
And we very close.
Yeah, and we also have
change your name, sir. Please.
Wow. And we have the judge, voiced by Jason Isaacs, who also voiced General Zhao from Avatar. So
that's why I was like, where
Baltimore? I mean,
wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fuck me. That I didn't know.
So anyways, like, these 2 characters we haven't really talked about, since we haven't done that much about, like, the whole conspiracy angle. But any thoughts on those 2? Do you care, hate them? I don't have any feelings for them.
I like them.
Oh shit, I was trying as Lucius Malfoy. That was a very egregious mistake.
If no one else has anything to say, like, I like these characters, and I would like to talk about them.
Okay.
So, like, I really liked, I like Count Saint Germain just because he felt like this character, like, not just because he was involved with the Infinite Corridor, which I liked. I liked that stuff a lot. And I liked that they paid off that kind of thing really well. But they really rode this line with him where I was never sure if he was a villain or a hero. And I kind of liked that. I kind of liked that we weren't sure his motivations. We weren't sure that stuff. But he didn't feel bland or boring. They found a way to find this character that was riding the line and having his own objectives. It was very truly a neutral character, like, who was just like, I'm here to do this thing to find this woman. We don't know what he was actually trying to do, but he will help Sypha and Trevor if it means he can reach that woman. And that was, I think, interesting, at least. Like, interesting that we didn't have him actually... He wasn't trying to, like, forward one of the 2 sides of this conflict in any way.
Right. And I definitely agree that, like, for the first half of the season, he gave off some really weird energy. But I like that the characters in the show acknowledge that it's weird energy to them, too, you know? So at least it's not you can tell it's on purpose, that he's being very oblique about his true purpose. And, you know, that's better than being bland, that you at least give some kind of energy off.
And it's very easy to have this kind of character be bland. And I understand if you do find him bland, if you, like, don't like this one interesting. But, like, I think that it is important to regard to point out the fact that they did a lot better than a lot of other shows do this kind of character, where they make them just a nothing, like, I don't care. Like, I care about him in the sense that I want to know what he's going to do next, which is, I think, the point of the character.
Okay, and the judge,
the judge was a lot smaller of a character, but I really loved the payoff at the end. I do agree with Allie that it was weirdly at the last second, but I do
felt like there was too much buildup for not a lot.
I think the point is, along with everything else happening in episode 9, was that this was just to say that, like, humans suck, which I know you wanted to talk about at some point, Alex. That, like, the whole season is about whether humans suck or not.
I feel like that's just the theme of the show in general.
Oh, totally.
I love it so much.
Yeah. And we can connect that into what we think season 4 will be about, because the final shot of season 2 was we were left with Alucard alone in the castle. He breaks down crying, thinking about his past. And the end of season 3 is Alucard broken down by, in this case, the results of his betrayal.
Sexual abuse. It just is.
And he closes the doors to be hiding away forever because humanity sucks. So, does anybody have any feelings on where we're going with Alucard or season 4 based on how this ended up?
Trio reunion!
It depends on if season 4 is the last season or not.
I mean, I think every season has been written so far with the idea that it could be the last season. But, to be fair, they also have in the works something called the bootleg multiverse, where they're going to cross over, like, a bunch of different franchises, like Devil May Cry, Assassin's Creed, I forget the other two, but they're, like, these people are doing things. Like, they're still, like, they've succeeded. They've been people. I think they're going to keep making Castlevania.
I hope so, because
right.
I need happy Alucard. That's all I want.
Oh, we're never going to get happy Alucard. You should.
When he reunites with Sypha and Trevor, we will have happy restored Alucard.
I hope so. They're going to just show up and see the corpses outside and be like,
he needs us. Let's go in immediately. We've been gone too long.
Sorry, bootleg multiverse includes Castlevania, Hyper Light Drifter, Assassin's Creed, and Devil May Cry. The 4 most weird, like, what the fuck does that even have to do with anything series?
Yeah, that is a bold cinematic universe you're planning there. What was I going to say? Oh, well, in terms of animated season finales, Castlevania has some of the bleakest shit we've seen.
It's always on a cliffhanger.
The only other show I think that's coming to my mind is like BoJack Horseman even then, like, they do episode 11 really bleak, and then they do the next episode is sort of on the upswing, whereas this, like, 2 season finales in a row where it just ends up like, wow.
That's how I feel about it. I mean, it's in that sense it's good, but it feels like a cliffhanger every time. So I'm like, are they going to end this, or are they just going to keep going with cliffhangers?
And, like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it just, like, kind of fits the overall tone of the show, where it's like, yeah, humanity sucks. Gotta live on with your life. Also Trevor, I think the final thing that Trevor says in this show is when he's turning to Sypha, it's like, well, now you gotta look at what my life is usually like.
Yeah.
Like, this is just the way it is.
Yeah.
Shit sucks all the time.
I do like this, like, it kind of was this payoff where Sypha's, like, really happy-go-lucky all season. Like, she's not dumb, but she's definitely, like, she's enjoying being this person that goes around helping people and killing monsters. And we get to the end where it's like, hey, it's really not that fun, Sypha. And it's like, I think it hits right. I think of all the things that, like, has a season-long arc, I think that one hits really well.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna miss seeing Sypha have fun, Trevor be snarky, and Alucard be angsty and sad. But
are we gonna have to wait another 2 years?
Oh,
yeah, I was gonna say
you see how long this show takes to animate? Like, it must take forever.
Yeah, it was done. I mean, we talked about the shots already, but
yeah, it was worth the wait. I'll give it that. But
every season it looks better.
There was, like, this shot where, like, Sypha dodged some, like, the bone arrows, and she went behind a pillar, and she, like, looked at the 2 arrows, and then one came right to the side of her head, and she looked at it, and, like, her hair moved. Like, the animation is just so incredible. Like, you could see the you could see the shock on her face, and, like, just from her face, you can tell, like, there's not time for me to be scared about this. I need to go. Like, it's so well animated. It's so, they really know how to tell, like, emotions and feelings with animation. And you can feel so much from the characters in, like, split-second moments, and it's really good.
Yeah. Before we begin signing off, we mentioned at the beginning that maybe some of us underplay the humor of this show. So while we did serious discussion, what would you say were your guys' funniest moments of the season? Because I think there are a couple of candidates here. Let's go to Michelle first. Do you have a funny moment that stood out to you?
Well, I mean, It's like the easiest one to go to, but the toilet paper is so iconic.
I know.
Like, and the fact that the judge gets it of all people, and his delivery is just so perfect.
What the fuck is toilet paper?
It's so
Chinese,
confused.
you ignorant racist.
Well, do we know he's racist?
No.
Who knows?
He's involved with the church somehow. No,
he's very discriminatory against children. We know that much, at least.
I feel like the humor in Castlevania is very disarming, but that's like the whole pleasure of it. You never know when a zinger is going to happen, but boy, does it deliver when it does happen.
Like, even when it's not a rude line, like with Sypha teasing Trevor, even that is funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like when she's like, you look at me, if you don't look at me, you won't crack, or whatever the line was.
Oh, yeah, and she's like so happy. But then he just, like, looks at her, and, like, it's funny just because it's true. Like, it's just, like, this is their real relationship, and she understands it. And it's really cute and funny.
Yeah.
Maddie, do you have a funny story?
Definitely the Alucard thing from the episode 1. Like, there's some crazy
funny
stuff.
Damn, you took mine.
I know I did. But, like, the scene where he's just, like, talking for the dolls, and then and, like, my favorite part of the shot is when he goes back to him, and he's like, oh my god. I'm going crazy. Like, the line read for "Oh my god" is just so good. It makes me crack up.
Oh my god, I've lost my mind.
Yeah,
it's so blasé about it is what makes it perfect. He's like, I guess I'm crazy.
I love his interpretation of Sypha. It's like, I know big words.
I'm smarter than all of you.
I know big words because I know everything about the universe.
And his fucking thing with Trevor is so, like, savage. It's like, I'm gonna have sex with, like, a dead dog or something. Because I can. It's just so on point. Yeah.
It's so true.
It's so true.
Also, if you can seek out on Twitter, that they put out that the original scene was actually just vegetables.
Radishes or something, yeah.
That's so much
even sadder.
I think they made it. I think it made it dolls so that Taka and Sumi would see them and be like, "What the fuck are these?"
Yeah, I guess. But
I think it makes more sense.
Was his name Pryor, the crazy guy?
Sala.
Sala.
Yeah.
Sala, right? He had I forgot what it was. He was explaining like Evangelianism or whatever, saying like if God is perfect, then he created everything. Then he created hell, and he's like, "Don't you see how it makes terrible sense?" That was definitely like the best because it was meta as fuck about religion.
Oh, also the line where Trevor's looking in the puddle and he's just like,
"Oh yeah,"
and it's just like you have this like minute-long build-up of Trevor walking through like a woods alone, and then it's just like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. So, I think that about does it for our Castlevania coverage. Any final thoughts before we begin signing off, Michelle?
I really like this show. This is a very fun show, and I feel like that's honestly why I stick around for it. It's fun. It's fun.
I mean, it's as good a reason as any to stick around for a show. It's better than hate watching.
Yeah, I love watch this show. It's the highest compliment I could give.
Yeah. Okay. Allie?
Same sentiment, really. I'd love that it's terrible, but I want Alucard to be happy. This just made me so sad. I'm still really conflicted about episode 9, probably partly because I watched it for the first time today and twice in a row. Well, not in a row, but like...
we warned you to have at least a day to digest it.
We told you this. I think we really told you this.
I thought you were just talking about episode 7, so I was like,
no, we meant all of the season.
Fuck. I thought you meant episode 7, so I was like, okay, I'll watch that and go to bed, and then I made the mistake of doing that. But I like it. I want season 4, and I'm willing to wait for it because the animation will definitely be even better, and you can kill me if it isn't for saying that.
Okay.
Don't actually kill me, though. You could, like, I don't know, send me hate mail.
Oh my god.
Don't send Allie hate mail. I'll come after you if you do.
I'll take the hate mail. It's fine. Maddie, any final thoughts?
I'll just say that I don't think we specifically commented that, like, we talked about how cool everyone was, but I'll just say that the, like, fight choreography is really good. And I think that this is, fight choreography that is both interesting and, like, you're not sure who's going to win is very difficult. And, like, every single fight scene is different. There's always something new. There's always something novel. in every single fight scene in this show. Like, even just the back alley fight between Trevor and those two guys, like, he shoves someone in a barrel and breaks their leg. It's like,
oh my God, that was so uncomfortable. How is he tearing people apart with his bare hands? Like, he fucks up like a wolf-looking person at one point. I'm like, how are you doing this with just your hands?
I like how Sci-Fi even mentioned, like, he saw someone trying to kick a cat and then he broke 3 of their limbs.
Oh my God,
that
was
was wonderful. Cat solidarity in the show,
Yeah.
surprisingly.
Yeah.
But my point
Of course,
is,
Trevor's a cat person.
Yeah, my point is they have some crazy people with fights. Like, they just come up with something new and cool every single fight. Even if it's as simple as, like, one of the zombie slaves, like, throwing their own arm at somebody. Like, it's just little things that you just go, whoa, that was really cool. It made no sense, but I'm on board.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my final thoughts. Think about all the stuff that we've covered here in this hour and change. We've talked about how religions deal with hell. We've talked about the mixture of 3D CGI and 2D fight choreography and miniature models. We've talked about ass and lesbians. So this show has a lot going on.
It has
and
so much to offer.
All the while being funny and also just like entertaining overall, while still dealing with some heavy topics on the state of our race. So, Castlevania, good show. And definitely worth your time. I mean, obviously, if you listen this long, you probably already watched it. But like Castlevania, I think is a show that needs more credit than it gets in terms of like how ambitious it's being. And finally, in our previous 2 Castlevania podcasts, we dedicated a lot of time debating whether or not the mechanics
Oh my God,
of
I
how
knew you were gonna
vampires
do
fuck.
this.
So I just want to end by saying we have confirmed in show that Alucard fucks, so we don't need to talk about that anymore.
And
we
so
just know
does-
that he fucks.
But no,
What's
the
her
problem
name?
is that we don't know if he can come. Like, that's the actual mystery.
Well, that's true. We don't see the ejaculation happening, so we can't know if it's blood. Does it come?
He
Like,
is
what
half
is it?
human, so for him it could probably work, but not other, like,
Do you think
full
it'd be like
vamp-
a like bloody cum? Like would it be a mixture?
my God.
Oh shit!
Oh
Oh,
my
Why are
sounds
we
horrible.
having this discussion?
Well, look, I mean, if you enjoyed the
clearly
Alucard
there
sets,
is
you
a-
got to get into the nitty
Like,
gritty.
let's think about this.
Serious
Dracula
Oh my God, are we
produced
really
him. Dracula produced Alucard, so like there's gotta be some
Right.
kind of vampire
Yeah.
semen situation by default.
blood semen, like blood
But-
orphans.
But also, Dracula has magic, so do we know that he was procreated by natural means?
But Alucard can do magic too. I just want to say, Maddie's the one who pointed out for me that Alucard is the word Dracula spelled
how did you
backwards.
not notice?
That
Oh,
is
shit. I didn't
the thing
notice that
I've
either.
ever heard, and I was so mad about it. But like,
I'm mad about it now. I didn't
it's
realize
still
that.
the stupidest
Stupid.
thing, but apparently that's just how it was in the original video game.
No,
so
yeah,
what can
it's
you
like 8. It's fine. Or 90s or whatever.
God.
Alucard? Oh my god.
Yeah, so,
It's so
I-
stupid the longer
It's
you
really
think about
Wait,
it.
don't you get it?
Oh my
That's really stupid, and I
It
love
is
it.
really stupid. Like what like fail parent creativity that was for Dracula. Like what can I name him? I got it. Alucard.
But I mean,
My
they
name
named him Adrian Tepes, to be fair. But then everyone just calls him Alucard. It's like, why?
because he's the anti-Dracula. Duh.
Yeah, he's blonde. It's true. He is the anti-Dracula.
Alucard is better than the Alucard.
Yes, true.
Slightly better.
Yeah. So yeah, if you enjoyed me bringing up the image of Alucard's penis, then you probably enjoyed
I mean-
the
And
Overly
him
Animated
bleeding
podcast.
semen.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like-
Bleeding semen. Find our previous Castlevania podcast for more discussion on that.
Oh my god, that has
you
to be a
can-
kink. And now I'm thinking about it.
The whips and the chains and the dungeons and the nudity.
You think Trevor uses that whip during sets?
Oh,
Yes! Absolutely!
What the fuck kind of sex is he having?
For, like restraining, just for fun, mostly for show.
Anyways, if you want to discuss the mechanics more, we have a Not Safe for Work channel on our Discord, and you can chat with us there at overlyanimated.com/Discord.
That's the weirdest plug ever, Alex.
It's the best
Yeah.
plug ever.
It's
Yeah,
the best
baby. We also have a Castlevania specific channel if you want to get in there too. You can support us financially via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Throw us a denarius or two there. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Kent, aka Kent Brockman. Thanks to our Patreon executive producers, Ryan, Steve, Beatrice, Hugh, Michael, and Needle. Besides Castlevania, we have also recently covered a variety of shows such as Steven Universe. We've covered...
Glitch Text.
The juxtaposition is so jarring.
Well, I mean, they both have thoughts about the human race and their the willingness to live. I don't know.
I mean, we also have the discussion of how Steven even exists.
Yeah. That see the commonalities. How does Steven exist? How does Alucard
How does
exist?
Rose fuck? We need to know.
Yeah.
We're never gonna know.
They both have
hole in the gem.
Both of those shows have lesbians, so
we need to know how Steven fucks. If we need to know how Alucard
no,
fucks.
he's 16. Can we not yet?
When he gets older, the method is still not the method. The commonality is still the same.
Sypha would be really good friends with Garnet, I feel.
Oh yeah, they see everything.
No, she'd be really good friends with Pearl.
Well, that's the obvious one, but like, you're right.
I think Trevor would.
Yeah, he would get along with Amethyst because they both have whips.
Hey.
And Alucard would be with like Garnet, be like, hey,
life sucks. People are awful. And she's like, totally.
Yeah. I get that. So yeah, when Castlevania comes back in 2022,
or 24, who knows?
Or 24. I'm gonna put my dartboard at 2022, like July. That's my random.
That
guess.
is a crazy. Wait, like you're really sticking like a time down.
Yeah. But whenever Castlevania shows up, we might also end up doing more specific discussion about something if we're just bored and like really want to talk about Castlevania again. That's still on the table. But in any case, whenever we're back to talk Castlevania, we hope that you'll listen again. But until then, thanks for listening to this one, and we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.